Okay, quick update. The engine was removed today. All went really well. The method we used was we supported the gearbox with the jack, and then we loosened all the gearbox mounts, bar just a couple. Some went underneath the car. I've got a few pictures which I'll put up as well with this video. We had someone underneath the car to grab the box. We had the engine here supported on the engine crane, so when the gearbox went, the engine didn't like fall backwards on these mounts because it would sort of rock either way. So we held that nice and tight. Box came out, scooted the box down at the side of the car, and then hoisted the engine up. Got it just clear of the top of the garage door and just over the bulkhead, the front of the car, out and then down. There's the crane we used earlier. So here she is, all nice and out of the car. The recent clutch still looks pretty good, and then the box is right there. So it's all come out real easy. Oh yes, that leads to the next thing. The V8 that's going inside the engine. Now, the V8 that's going inside the car. I'm going to use a Rover V8. Now, a lot of people say don't bother because they haven't got much power and stuff like that. But the reason I'm doing it is they're cheap, they're available. You can get all the parts for it. Performance parts aren't too bad. Things like a cam will set you back about less than £100 for a cam. This is 182 horsepower from the factory, so that alone will be lovely in the Capri, and they sound great. And they're aluminium, so they're light. It weighs 30 kilos more than the Pinto I've pulled out, so handling won't be an issue either. And they're really easy engines to work on. So that's why I'm doing this. This is 3.9. I've recently replaced it with a brand new electronic distributor. New leads, new plugs, recent service, so new oil and things. And this has also got a biogas LPG system, which I'm actually thinking about maybe keeping and making the Capri economical. Not sure yet, or I'm gonna go back to carbs and strip all the EFI stuff off it. I'm not sure. I'm sure you'll find out later on. So this is also hooked up to a auto box as well. So I may end up keeping the auto box in the Capri. If it goes in there nice and simple, I will. Otherwise, I'm going to choose a manual. Now, either go for the Rover manual, the LT77 or the R380, or I will go for maybe an RX8 gearbox. They're cheap, they're small, and they should go in this tunnel relatively easily. So yeah, there's a quick update. Rover V8. Next steps is to strip back this engine bay, get all the paint off it, any holes. For example, there is one right here on the scuttle panel which is relatively nasty, which I'm going to have to get the glass out for, and there is a pretty nasty hole here too. So I can't weld, but I'm going to buy a welder and I'm going to try and teach myself. Failing that, phone a friend. Yes, and I also need to figure out how to mount the V8. I'm guessing the best thing to do, seeing as that V8 has a power steering pump, is to remove this 2 litre cross member and manual rack, and stick on a 2.8 cross member with power steering rack, and make the hydraulic hoses from the Rover V8 to this to the Capri 2.8 rack, and I'll get power steering then as well, which will be really nice. Yep, so let's go around the rest of the car. Here's all the wiring that's getting ready to pull back through. Ooh, it's dark in here. Can't really see anything, to be honest. But the bucket seats, I've got some Sparco seats. I'm repositioning them, so I wasn't happy with the fit. For that, I'm using these one-size-fits-all seat rails, which are really nice, and getting sort of a nice sort of tilt back. Before, when I mounted them horizontally, and it just didn't feel right for the bucket seat, so I'm going to sort of have it like a 30-degree thing, so my legs are a bit more in the air, and be a bit lower too, because they're actually quite tall. They're a little bit too close to the ceiling for my liking, so I'm going to address that as well. And the clocks. These are all going to be removed. I'm going to sort of figure out some sort of aftermarket clock system, but I want to keep